Every generation carries ideas. Every young mind carries questions. Every student carries a story. Yet, the people we talk about the most are often the ones we listen to the least. What if we simply listen? For more than 2 decades, one educator has worked alongside schools, students, parents, and institutions across India, not just to build better schools, but to build confident voices. Led by Monieka Khanna, an education leader with over 20 years of experience, Ignisia was founded on one powerful belief. Education doesn't end inside classrooms. It truly begins when every child feels heard. And from that belief was born Unmute with Ignisia, a national youth platform where students don't just participate, they question, they challenge, they collaborate, they inspire. Those voices find a national stage. Because the future of Bharat cannot be built for its youth. It must be built with its youth. Unmute with Ignisia, the voice of Young Bharat.
Time we heard everybody out there in the room, be it the industry leaders or people from the education field. It's time to hear none other than the Gen Zs. What do they have to say? What new learnings, new changes they want to incorporate out there? And with this, I invite the moderator of the session. While she is a visionary leader working closely with schools on growth, strategy, innovation, and student empowerment, the founder of Ignisia and CEO of Mount Olympus Group of Schools, put your hands together for Miss Monieka Khanna. Thank you. Yeah, we are finally up. Thank you. It's a pleasure and pride that I talk about these young minds. Let me start. Although each one of them have that equal importance, but let me go one by one. Starting off with a class 12 student. He's joined us. He's an entrepreneur, a youth leader who founded Bharat MUN with the vision of making opportunity accessible through communication and leadership education. You all heard him a few minutes back and he was able to make the impact as soon as he started off. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Ishan. Thank you, Rishan. Okay, moving on next, another class 12th passionate student leader, NCC under officer and an accomplished public speaker. Having represented her school on national platforms from youth parliaments to prestigious NCC camps. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Arya Ojha. Next one out there is an incoming Harvard University student, an entrepreneur and the founder of the Teen Debater, Asia's largest student-led debate education non-profit organization. Passionate about AI, education and entrepreneurship, hear me now. He has trained more than 12,000 students across 15 plus countries till date. And this still continues. Ladies and gentlemen, with those goosebumps, let's welcome Shivansh Gupta. And last but not the least, ladies and gentlemen, a law student and an alumni. Is a third-year law student whose journey extended far beyond the classroom. A state-level shooting representative, TEDx speaker, and MUN participant. A big round of applause and let's welcome Yashmeet Saini. Guys, this is nothing, this is going beyond words. You guys are coming over here, you have industry
one and we were really waiting that, we were all talking since morning for Young Bharat and we were all made commitments. I was thinking that we should have forum later before this because we made the commitments before hearing them. The youth.
So here we are, we have a very less audience, but I wish that as many of you here today and listen to them, you will go back and talk to your team, your colleagues and see what difference you can make after this panel. So, you've already introduced me, Deepak. Thank you. I'm Monieka Khanna. I'm the, founder of Ignisia and CEO of Mount Olympus Group of Schools. 20 years of my career, I've seen education in very different perspective. Maybe as a teacher, an admission counselor, a head strategist, a startup expert, and now a CEO. But one thing which is very clear and very transparent, that all of us sitting here really want to do good for these children. So the intention is absolutely clear. Like, the schools wants to build up their future, parents want best of the education, so they choose the best school, and industry people wants the best professionals, so they want to collaborate. But in between this intention and this whole process, there is a gap. And this is the gap which we're going to be talking today. And on that pretext only, Unmute with Ignisia was formed. Because we cannot build Bharat without we listen to them. And that's what we are building, and that's what we are talking. So the best thing about this is, Neha, that we've seen so many forums, and this is the first forum where actually people spoke very transparent. And I was happy when Aditi ma'am herself said that, there is a persistent problem. But who is going to make that change? We will decide now. So going forward, it's our privilege that Unmute with Ignisia episode 7 is getting launched here. So going ahead, let's begin. All of my team that, we spent the entire day discussing, and you've heard all the talks. Is there anything which still got missed? Academia spoke, industry spoke, there was a face-off and there was an open forum. Was there anything missed still? If anybody could answer. Can I have more mics?
I think today we have talked a lot about artificial intelligence, employability, pros and cons of the education system and whatnot. But there are two things that were left behind. First, human behind profession, and second, rural India. Now, when I talk about human behind profession, see, we are preparing our students for jobs, right? And it's not bad in preparing our students for jobs. I mean, it's very important. That's the ultimate goal, right? To have a good lifestyle, to live in a good environment, and to have a good job. But will that bring true peace and prosperity? The answer is no. And should that be the only dream? The answer is no, right? So that is what we have truly missed. Now, to overcome that, there is a very good initiative taken by CBSE that was to launch computational thinking as a mandatory subject for class 3rd to 8th. And I think it's a very good subject to inculcate the qualities like problem solving, ethical decision making, and being ready for the uncertainties of life. What is computational thinking all about? It's like you have a huge mathematical problem in front of you, right? What you do is break that mathematical problem into smaller chunks, solve it one by one, and then ultimately reach to the final solution. I think that is what life is also about. We have big challenges, we have huge, rocks in our journey of success, right? And we take baby steps, we take tiny steps, and we finally be successful in life, right? So I think subjects like computational thinking are very, very important to be introduced. And also, if you see that a lot of students have that mindset कि मतलब मैं तो सिर्फ मार्क्स के लिए पढ़ रही थी, मैं 3rd to 8th I only studied for marks. हाँ, अब 9th to 12th मेरे को मेहनत करना पड़ेगा because obviously I'll give competitive exams and all that. That is the mindset that we are creating in our students, that marks के लिए पढ़ाई कर रहे हैं. अरे computational thinking subjects introduce, and they make a kind of environment in classroom where the students actually learn. And when they get to their home, they tell their parents, nahi, aaj we studied something truly that meant we learned something new. And हम सिर्फ marks के लिए नहीं पढ़ाई कर रहे हैं, हम पढ़ने के लिए पढ़ाई कर रहे हैं. That should be the ultimate goal, right? Second of all, rural India. मैं खुद एक बहुत छोटे गांव से बिलोंग करती हूँ in उत्तर प्रदेश. I belong from a rural area, and I've seen I've seen a lot of problems and a lot of challenges that the students are facing there. Lack of opportunity, infrastructure is not good, and so many other things as well. The teacher is there on papers, but in real life, in classrooms, the teacher is not there, right? We head towards national progress only when we take rural India with us, right? There can be various things done. First of all, digitalizing education there. promoting local entrepreneurships over there, doing something in the field of agriculture and improving the infrastructure. I think that is what we should do in rural India so that we don't leave that behind.
Great. I mean, I'm sure if ma'am would have been there who was speaking about rural India, so she would have really got some good comments. Yashmi, do you have something?
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to add on to what
Who
she
just said?
I think something that's important and that we need to start teaching our kids as well is how to take accountability. I think taking accountability, taking in charge, and being and having empathy towards people is important.
So that means schools are not teaching you that?
Then building basic human, like just human values. Right now, I don't want to make it a very political thing, but since we all are in a room full where we all must read the newspaper.
But this is unmute going on, you can speak because they've been very open about their thoughts.
See, we are turning ahead, like we are ignoring things. Very openly, I'm going to say this, the protest that's been going on in Delhi.
Oh my God, somebody brought it forward because I was thinking there are more than 12 forums of education happening all across Delhi only. I don't know about all over India, but then nobody even spoke about that. Yeah.
Mr. Sonam Wanchuk, he has been on hunger strike.
For us.
For us and them and him and her and all the other students in our country. We are ignoring it just because we think politically different. Even in our schools, when we're taught political science from 9th onwards, our teachers say something, at least mine did, and a lot of other teachers also say this, that, beta, we can't teach you from a political lens.
Is that so? Anybody wants to comment on that?
Having a political opinion in our country is important. Teaching your students to have the right political ideology is also important. Since I am a law student,
I want Rishan to take this forward because he's been talking about it, right? So, yeah.
I mean, since I currently belong to, I would like to consider myself and her, as well as all of us on the panel here, the most important stakeholders. Okay, even more important than the educators or the industry, because at the end of it, at the center of academia is us. Because we're the ones being taught, we're the ones being educated, right? Now, adding on to what Yashmeet has been talking about, of course, not making this a very political debate either. It's very important for us to have that open-mindedness and to have that willingness to think. Because in a lot of students my age, a lot of my friends, a lot of my classmates, as well as a lot of people my age across the country with whom I've interacted with, I see that lack of willingness to learn and that lack of willingness to comprehend things that might seem out of reach at that particular point of time, right? What the protests that are going on, maybe 6 months back, that could have been something that I would have felt it's beyond me. But today I'm in a position where I feel that it is up to me to decide the fate of this country. It's up to people my age to decide the fate of this country, to decide the fate of where we're going to go. And I'm only able to comment on that because I've had the willingness and I've had the openness to think about these things. I've had the openness to comprehend these things. And until and unless that openness is inculcated in our school curriculum, we're trying to speak about that in school, in classrooms, in groups of 20 or 30, that isn't going to develop.
So, so that you can add on, because generally during your MUNs and all, you speak about life skills and the actual skills which is required for the next world where you're going to be going after 1 year, 6 months down the line. What is that lack? What is that missing part which schools are not teaching you? And you are taking it through maybe your forums, your MUN, because students enjoy that more. Is there any gap? What is that?
Once missing? I get started on this, मुझे रोकना बहुत मुश्किल होगा. But alright, before I answer, let me give you all some amount of context as to what I've been working on and everything I've been doing over the past 3 or 4 years.
We have 20 minutes and I really don't want to go beyond. So we will have our quick answers. Yes? Yeah.
I'll keep it very short.
Yeah.
So actually, you know what? As we go through the panel, that's when I'll give this context.
Perfect.
Right now, just to answer your question, for me personally, the thing we've missed since this morning has been our perspective, and we finally got into it.
Yes.
Right? I feel very happy that we're finally at a forum where our voices are also included. Because almost every week, the educators would know you're going to forums, be it CBSE, be it GPSC, be it any forum that's organizing a conference like this one, almost every weekend. Are students ever going to be invited? Are we ever going to be on stage like we are today? So I feel very lucky to have this opportunity and to be able to share my perspective. And again, as ma'am pointed out, the skill that I feel requires the highest amount of importance in today's landscape, especially talking in the Indian context, it would be soft skill education. Alright, that's my forte, and that's something I strongly believe in. Because any form of skill that you talk about, be it something technical, be it something hands-on, be it something related to digital technology, right? Practicality and implementation can vary very vividly when it comes to interregionality, right? Something you can implement easily in Delhi NCR, you will not be able to implement that just a few kilometers away in a rural school. But what is one thing that you can implement universally? Soft skills, right? Everybody has a voice. If you're able to use that voice on forums like this one, on international forums, for the right causes, if you have the confidence in yourself to speak, and if that confidence has been inculcated throughout your school life, only then are you going to be able to change how this world views you.
Thank you, Rishant. That was really good. I'll take it forward to Shivansh. Shivansh, you're going to Harvard, right? You've really worked hard and people had been praising. Your Instagram is loaded. Everybody's wishing you. What did you do to get in there? Did school help? And if it, please share. And if it didn't, please share.
Yeah, I think one of the things I kind of wanted to emphasize on, and I think Sean also mentioned this, is this is the most important skill, incredibly important, that every part of the schooling system is lost on, and that's the ability to think. And this sounds very obvious, right? When you talk about soft skills, when you talk about critical thinking, you can name throw anything, like bade words from some use that we don't know what's actually going on over here. But in terms of what do I mean by thinking, so this is a great person I'm going to quote over here. I'm going to steal his thing. Carl Sagan, I don't know if you've seen The American Astronomer. He said this, and he worked, by the way, in kindergarten. Somebody mentioned this in the past as well. Yeah, so I think I mentioned this. And so in kindergarten, he used to be able to work with those kind of children, and those children ask the most obvious basic questions, right? Why is the grass green? Why is the sky blue? Why are we rotating around the sun? When you come to 12th grade, you ask questions to children, and you ask them, the same kind of students. They don't ask these questions anymore. What they ask is, CBSE mein kya aaya percentage? JEE ke liye tayari ho chuki hai kya? These kind of questions. The problem in 1st to 12th grade is what kind of happened. Where did we lose our ability to think? And I'm not saying this is a method for you to realize that schools need to incorporate philosophy or something. I mean, I'm someone who loves philosophy, and if I had to advocate for this as a subject, I would go on for my grounds. This is not the place to do that. But as you grow up and as you grow older, the world kind of becomes mundane. It becomes normal. A baby will look at a dog barking and say that's amazing. Today we look at that baby, we see that's normal. What are you looking at? A dog barking is normal. Why don't we question that? That curiosity, as much as compliance is important in schools, curiosity should be also placed at the same importance, and the ability to think. And if you incorporate that to any child, no matter the subject, right? Because if the goal is to teach to test, then they'll always go for that. You bring any NEP, you bring any policy, you get anything. Like NEP mein kya kiya? You brought sustainability to the curriculum, you brought AI, all of that. What's that changing? Because ultimately, वो 5 point AI के रट के paper में नहीं लिख के आएगा ना, उसने कुछ किया नहीं. You didn't give them the opportunity because you told them the ultimate goal of this is memorize and then write the paper.
And write in paper and have marks for that.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I think I'd like to add on to that, drawing back to the very first panel in the morning, the industry panel, right? I think Mr. Prikshit Dhanda, he talked about the students' defensiveness to feedback, right? That was one very important and major point that was mentioned. And Ms. Simardeep Kaur, she also mentioned the lack of emotional intelligence in students these days. So adding on to what Shiman said, these basic qualities, these basic skills, if they're not inculcated in our students in our school life throughout primary, secondary and higher education, we are not going to have them ever. And now adding on to the NEP policy and again how schools are implementing it, I can't really criticize very openly because my respected principal is also sitting there. But right, if I were to go on a very broad aspect, it's that schools are gonna be doing a lot, right? Schools in India, they're giving us knowledge, they're very good at giving us knowledge. But what the 21st century is demanding is not just knowledge, it's the ability to apply that knowledge. If we're not given that ability to apply that knowledge with humane values, where are we standing? And again, commenting on our education system simply because I feel the need to, memorization is a concept of the past, right? Our education system, even if we look back around 5 to 6 years, even before we ever logged on onto chatgpt.com, okay, memorization was still a thing for us. So the education system, it's been built on the requirements of a decade back or 2 decades back, where every single person in the workforce needed to memorize something relating to their subject of area. But right now, we're in a time where within milliseconds we could search something up and information is very, very accessible. So it's not that need to memorize that is important in the workforce anymore. It's not that need to essentially know everything that's valued in the workforce, from my opinion. Of course, I'm not a part of the workforce, so I can only comment from a very, very young point of view. What skills we actually need are how we're going to apply those information points, how we're going to apply that knowledge, because knowledge तो मिलती रहेगी. I'm not saying हमें कम पढ़ाओ physics, हमें कम पढ़ाओ chemistry. मैं बता रहा हूँ, what I am saying is that हमें ये पढ़ाओ कि हम physics को apply कैसे करें. Right? हम economics पढ़ रहे हैं, तो हम real world में economics को apply कैसे करें? How can we use this in public policy? How can we use this for econometrics? How can we use this when we're formulating financial policies of the country? Because macroeconomics में हम सबने पढ़ा है, what's national income, what's GDP, but real world में हमें उसकी implications पता ही नहीं. And do we have any math educators here? Anybody from a math background? Okay, no worries. I was going to use a metaphor, but that will fail anyway. One last thing before I end my point here. I'm sure everybody here has heard the proverb, jack of all trades, master of none. Sabne suna hai? Yeah, everybody. Of course, that's what I was coming to. Very few people have actually heard the full version of the proverb. A jack of all trades, a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. Are schools of 21st century India actually preparing those jacks of all trades?
I think really wisely said, because I remember when Sir was asking about the commitments, there were many industry people said that we are ready to make the curriculum, we are ready to build this curriculum from 6 to 8 or 9 to 12. Coming back and attaching that question to Yashvi, because you are the one who's an alumni and gone to the world now, you must be facing, and as a law student and also as people, is there anything which the school missed? Because he was talking about too much teaching. Was that too much teaching enough for you now when you are there in the field?
Since my principal is not here, so I can very much say, and nor is my dean here, so I can.
Was it relevant for you? I mean, all that, so much teaching, because we are ready to do. School, that whole intention is absolutely clear. Schools don't want to do everything. Industry wants to add so many collaborations. But is it relevant for kids? Are you guys even happy? हम इतनी मेहनत कर रहे हैं, budgeting, this, that. Is it even relevant?
Okay, let's look at it from a student's lens. You bring out the internships, you bring out the educators from different schools, different backgrounds, the industry people. But my question is, why with each year the policies are being more complex? I am studying the same history, the same political science as a BA LLB student. I just completed my second year. I'm still learning about the modern history, which I covered in my 11th standard. If you look at, so humanities is a background where everything is connected. But so are your commerce students, accounting students are studying the same. My brother is from an engineering background, he was studying the same that he did in 11th. The only difference is, as a school student, it is more, it has more expectations, from the parents, teachers. But I think what schools are now doing are, they're complexing the syllabus over and over, thinking that it's benefiting the student. But it's actually not benefiting the student. It's just creating a more, it's creating an environment which is more pressuring for the student. Oh, as a computer science student, I need to learn AI. Okay, my school will bring the AI coach and everything. I'll learn this game. Arey Baba, you'll have to do it again in college. This is where the competition is repeating. This is where, I'm sure at your time, sir or ma'am, there was not much competition. Why was the skill that you said missing in the Gen Zs? Because we are too busy rushing. We're too busy to be becoming those perfect little diamonds.
But you're absolutely right, and you know what? I am with you guys, but then I still belong to education, and you know all my peers are here. So I want to say that a lot of times we say that the moment we prepare you all for a bright future, and the moment you're out, the people tell us that we label you. You're Gen Zs, you're not ready to do. So what is your generation? I want to understand from you, Arya, that what is that adults still misunderstand for your generation? Because what I get to hear is that you will not listen, you don't want to listen, and that's the only thing which I always hear. And this is the reason I talk to children, and I want to listen to understand where is the gap. So whichever help I can make, I can do that. So what is that we're missing in your generation, and what is that adults feel?
Right. So first of all, it's never a misunderstanding. Sometimes it's just lack of a proper sit-down communication. I'll take an example. So as a teen, like when I was around 11 to 12 years old, I was filled with anger. I don't know why. I think that happens to every teen. That we are filled with anger, and I have a lot of fresh perspectives, and I have debates with my dad that no, this is wrong, no, this is right. So I used to have a lot of fights with my parents initially, and I used to raise a lot of new questions as well. Now, around like 6-7 years down the line, I and my sister have an age gap of 10 years, okay? So, now my sister is like 9 years old. She has the same kind of anger that, I had once. And she is the same kind of person that I was one step ahead than me, right? So, now I see the same anger, and normally we have a lot of fights, normal sibling fight that we have. So, once she was fighting me, and she said something that I said, and it clicked, right? My father was standing 10 meters away watching this drama, and he was like, "Did you get deja vu? You said the same things to me. You said the same things to me as well." So now what I'm trying to say here is that it's not always a misunderstanding. With age, when I am now 17 years old, I try to understand my parents' perspective as well. And when my father was standing 10 meters away, I said, "Sorry, Dad. Now I understand you, that what you went through, and I should not have raised my voice probably." So I understand him better because I have a sister who is 10 years old younger than me. So it's never a misunderstanding. It's always lack of communication. And now when I I keep 1 hour of my day to communicate with my parents, right? So that we don't miss on anything. I rant, and they also tell me about their day and all that, right? So now we communicate, and we have proper sit-down communications that about all kinds of stuff that is happening. So I think, it's never the misunderstanding, it's always lack of communication, and that is what we have to bridge. And I think we should never be afraid that, why should I be the one to start the conversation with an adult? Why should I be the one to initiate the conversation? Initiating a conversation will never make you smaller. Instead, it will make you, it will make you stronger enough to approach people in life. So I think that is what is important. And lastly, that adults have a lot of experience, they have a lot of wisdom, and we have fresh perspective, we have a lot of questions too, that has to be answered. So I think when these two things combine, we head towards a Viksit.
I think I'd like to add on to that. It's about a few months back, I had actually been to one of Monica ma'am's podcasts, and we were discussing the exact same question that ma'am just asked Arya. It was, how do you address the gap between expectations of the employer and how you are getting into the workforce, the skills that you already have? Because there's this lack of trust. Okay, employers these days, there's a stigma about Gen Z employees that they're not going to work according to our standards. There's no professionalism. Well, this also brings me to a couple of our industry members, like sir, who are still here. It's an appeal, right, to trust us. Abhi, we had an open forum right before this, and I didn't hear anybody speaking about the need for mutual trust between the stakeholders. But what I'm asking for now is trust from the industry side on the students. Because even though we may not match your standards of professionalism, we have our own standards of it. We have our own degrees of it, and we have our own definition of it, right? The best part about what Gen Z brings to the table is the ability to understand different cultures, right? intersectionality. Because we've all been through that age, we've been through COVID, we've been through the pandemic, and we've all developed a global understanding of how the world works. We're sitting in very, very globalized times where the world is basically one. And because we have that skill, we can bring that to the table. And again, I'd just like to add one last point, slightly humorous, but so Dr. Saha from CBSE, he mentioned something about Viksit Bharat ka pehla namuna, right? I think मैं कहना चाहूँगा विकसित भारत के दूसरे नमूने हम ही हैं, right? The four of us and
policies
exactly.
after into
And all the
2047 they are going to be building the policies.
And हम नमूने इसलिए हैं because you know all schools these days they're talking about inculcating values of leadership. यहाँ पे can I just know how many principals are sitting here? Principals and heads of schools, right? All school brochures, at least every single one I've seen has one line written in it: "We're building the futures of tomorrow." Right? हर school brochure में होता है. But are you only building leaders that get to lead after school का annual function वो खत्म हो जाता है, right? For those 2 months after December when every annual function, every sports day is over, that's when the students get to lead, because that's what schools are doing at the moment, right? If you give students that opportunity to lead throughout, if you give them the opportunity to build skills themselves, because from my own very, very personal experience, and I think Shivansh will also be able to comment on this, everything we've been able to do till now has been because we wanted to, and we've had to step outside our comfort zones, and we've had to step outside our school zones as well to get those opportunities. Schools have given us that push, but we haven't gotten that opportunity. Neither have we gotten that from the academic side, neither have we gotten that from industry, because again they don't trust us.
But Rishan, I want to ask here only, what do you think because you know we can talk as much, what is it one last which you feel that because schools really want to do that, but you feel that it's not enough? What do you think should be shortened or cut off from the curricula or the timing, and you know this could be added? And that's a question from all of you.
Yep.
What can schools add which gives you that satisfaction and whatever future we build? Yes, ma'am. Do you agree? Is there anybody who wants to say something here? Because I asked that, see, we all, like what ma'am rightly said, is that intention is absolutely clear. I'm not saying that there's a checklist that we want to cover up, but yes, genuinely every school wants to do good for you. This is the reason that we're doing this forum. What is that miss which we can add up, like, you know, like a Jenga where we can add and make that pillar? So if you could tell us that, because maybe we work on that.
I definitely agree with you, ma'am. It's not, I mean, what I meant was it's not the fact that schools aren't doing it. Schools are giving us, schools have the intention, school leaderships, they do have the intention to give students the opportunity. But I feel like there's this lack of communication and lack of reciprocity between the student community, the parent community and the teacher community, where somewhere that intention is getting lost, right? Intention is there, but implementation may not be at full scale. Student councils exist in every single school, right? School captains, head boys, head girls, but that student council represents a very small portion of the student community. And inter-school events, yes, I've organized every single school event at my school, every single school event, I'm sure all of you, you've played a big role in organizing them, right? We're given that chance. But again, that's so limited, right? It's so limited that we're not given that real world exposure.
So, okay, now it's getting too serious and we have to end this up. Now let's have a rapid fire, because I really don't want any kind of... Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Well, yes, ma'am. Yes. Actually,
Lovely question, ma'am. Thank you.
It all starts at your home. Actually, that's what I feel. One day I just stepped up to my parents and I, just randomly told them about my day.
Ma'am, from the next day, my parents came to me and asked me about. That's what I said, right? Taking initiative for a conversation is not at all going to make you smaller. So I think when I took one step towards my parents or towards my teacher, explaining that this is what I feel and this is what should be done, they run towards you and they ask you that, beta, what else do you want? What can we do for you? And I think my teachers are doing that as well. So yes.
Ma'am, I'd like to add something.
You add, then I can ask.
To what Arya said. I think as an educator, all of you are doing a wonderful job trying to understand the students. And even as parents also, they're trying very hard to bridge the gap. And even as students, we also try to be sensitive about certain things with our peers. But is the society ready? That's the question. You can shape us, we can shape how the curriculum is for us. But as educators, I'm speaking on behalf of all the students here. I think our plea to you is to talk to parents. Tell them about our problems, because coming from you, they might consider it. They might not.
No, but parents don't speak that, right? So the school, the other side, have a different perspective because parents speak on the different format. So that's the whole chaos and a vicious circle.
I'm talking about how right now the competition is building and it's building and it's building. It's fair for the parents to ask that, oh, will my child get in? Oh, will my child score this much? Oh, will my child have the same amount of opportunity as that school is providing? That is a parent's concern. But if you remove the parent's concern and if you just look at society at large, you are an educator, it's your job to work with the student to evolve. But is the society really evolving? I don't think so. And here is where us students, we are thought of as rebels. Here is where the trust issue and everything comes. If as educators and if as students we are just building the gap in schools, I think we should do the same with parents. Once in a while, take a seminar, tell them that, oh, this is the new way that Gen Z is going. We can be you guys can be a little considerate here.
So it's a plea to all our schools that, maybe they can talk to your parents that, they more start trusting you. So school is fine.
See, at the end of the day, parents look at us that we are their children and they know what's best for us. But they look at the educator as somebody who knows better. Yeah. So sometimes maybe what we want.
Hopefully, yes. So because it's a complete change which we're looking at, because this is the first time where children are speaking. We've had multiple forums where academia spoke and where the industry speaks. So today we are first time talking. So again, I don't want to take it too deep. Let's just go a rapid. Yes, actually we should start with them. So maybe our perspective change and whatever good intentions we are bringing it forward to bring the youth of Bharat as a change of Viksit Bharat 2047, it might bring a change.
Just one last contribution I'd like to make before we move on to the next segment.
Yes.
Because the word communication really fires me up, right, as I've repeated. So anyway, while we're on the topic of communication, right, this is where I'll give the context of the work that I've done at Bharat. So 3.5 years ago, I founded Bharat MUN when I was in 8th grade. And that was with one simple mission: to democratize opportunity through soft skill education, right? One of the presentations today was about democratizing opportunity, and I resonated with that a lot, because the number one thing that needs to be democratized in India right now is opportunity, because talent is limitless. The only thing we need is opportunity. MUN, my team of 50, everybody is a school student, right? And I've gotten 10 of our team members accredited as public speaking coaches. We're affiliated with more than 50 NGOs, and every single week we're going to these NGOs and taking public speaking and soft skill workshops for the underprivileged students. So that's the kind of work that we've been involved in, and to this date we've raised more than 25 lakh rupees in revenue, and out of that the profit we've reinvested that directly into our training programs. But the impact that I'm talking about, the 20,000 students we've been able to reach out to, right? that is still a very small number. This is just from about 2 weeks back. I was taking a communications workshop, and this was at a posh modern school in Gurgaon only. Now, something I like to do for these workshops is I like to ask the teachers to leave the room so that we can have a very, very vulnerable and open session with the students, because I am also a student. I'm 16 years old as well. I like to start these workshops on a very vulnerable note. Very straightforward होके, मतलब बहुत straightforward होके मैं पूछता हूँ, यहाँ आप में से किस के पास, or how many of you have ever experienced or still continue to experience stage fright, right? Excellent, ma'am. Me
Everybody,
too.
yeah.
Everybody. Almost everybody.
Almost everyone.
Almost
Yes.
everyone.
Yes.
And today we've been at this forum, we're able to speak because we can disguise ourselves, right? We can put on a facade, and that's important. But when I was talking to that group of 8th and 9th graders, a group of 200, 300 students, there were maybe 5 who didn't raise their hands, right? The rest 295 students, every single person raised their hand when I asked them if they had stage fright. And that stage fright didn't mean ki, oh, I can't speak in front of an audience of 10,000 people, because even I can't do that. Most of us will not be able to do that. That could be as simple as speaking in front of their own class with a size of just 30 students, right? If they have that fear, if that fear is not extinguished while they're in school, will they really be able to become valuable members of the workforce? Is the industry really going to accept them? And then we won't be able to blame the industry either, because the industry needs people to be able to communicate. That's obvious. If students are not given the necessary communication skills while they're in school, while they're in high school, while they graduate, before they graduate actually, how will they survive college? How are they going to survive the workforce? How are they ever going to survive internships, where you honestly have to work your way through the political ladders, the corporate ladders, and everything, right? So again, bringing back to my starting point, communication and soft skills should and must be the center of everything that schools are doing for students.
So
I think just to see that whatever you all wanted to say about this forum, conversation. Whatever change we're going to be bringing is only with the conversation. Either we have difficulties with parents coming over to our schools and, giving us tough times. So maybe that conversation. And children, because we don't have trust in you, that whether you will listen to us or not. So with that conversation. So I think conversation and trust is one thing which is going to build up Bharat. At least start formulating Bharat with conversation. Yes? So to end up with the note, time is already up, but I just want a quick fire to end this up. I want very quick responses, only in one word, please, because bahut thak gaye, sir. So what is that one idea discussed today? What would generally work inside schools? Because today's forum was really good. So what do you think is that one thing which was generally good? I want one answer, whosoever. One word, but one answer, not all. Yeah?
So I think the internship idea is going to work really well. Mainly two.
One.
What is one idea that sounds really inspiring on stage but would never survive in real classrooms?
I think I'll go.
Yeah?
Redesigning the entire education system, because that's not possible.
Lovely.
Utopian vision, Nishan.
Yeah. So, whose readiness worries you more?
Adults.
Lovely.
So I didn't even finish my question. So it was Young Bharat or adults? So adults. So last, if every CEO, director, principal in this room could do one thing for students starting tomorrow, what should it be?
I think it's to make their CSR initiatives more accessible.
Okay. Anything?
For me, I think that's, again, not from tomorrow, but from today and from this second, to trust.
Okay. Trust.
And talk.
And talk. So yeah, it's every
One
time
day.
coming back to conversation and trust.
One
Last, yeah.
Like one day out of the month, principals go to your students, chairmen take the time out, sit with the teachers, everybody sit together and talk.
Yeah. So last question. If every school leader could change one thing tomorrow morning, what should it be?
Don't stop the child from asking questions.
Lovely. And I think that note, I think Unmute with Ignisia and We Think Bharat forum really completes. And thank you everyone for listening to us, because you've heard their fear, they've heard their intentions. They all are clear. They want to converse with you. They want to have trust built up between all of us, right? And thank you. We Think Bharat 2047 Viksit Bharat will build together. Yes? Thank you. Thank you everyone.
taking the panel forward. Thank you so much, ma'am. Guys, congratulations, you're even getting the Canva kits. Let's open the Pandora box of imagination alongside. Next, let's move over to Rishan. Branding is very important. Moving ahead with Shivansh. And last but not the least, Yashmeet.